I had just given birth to my last daughter and I was on top of the world. I was so happy that the birth went smoothly despite the fact that the pregnancy was considered a geriatric pregnancy. It was also the first time I experienced gestational diabetes as well as anemia. I started freaking out, terrified that my body was trying to reject the pregnancy. You see, I had experienced 3 miscarriages in a row before finally being able to hold on to this one. Being 38 with these health issues and history, I was terrified that my baby was going to die in this old body. A few hours after giving birth, I was relaxing because I had been up all night in labor. The nurses brought me in breakfast so that I could produce enough milk to feed the baby. My doctor happened to be in there for a postnatal check when I took my first sip of orange juice. Within a minute, I felt a pain in my upper abdomen and I was waiting for it to go away. But instead, it kept getting worse and worse. I had been experiencing pain like that over the past month or so, but it wasn't constant. I just assumed it was stretching of some kind. Before I knew it, I was writhing in pain and screaming. I didn't even scream during labor and delivery, just to give you an idea of how much this hurt. My doctor assumed it was heartburn and gave me Mylanta. That didn't work. Then she gave me morphine. That didn't work. Then she pulled out the big guns and gave me Dilaudid. That knocked me out cold. She then started running tests on my heart, x-rays, CT scans, and finally an MRI. When I woke up, I was still screaming in pain and they had to put me on an IV drip with my own personal button. Whenever that little button turned green, that was my cue to administer myself more Dilaudid. During one of the times I was awake, the doctor came in and told me that I had an adrenal gland hemorrhage. My first response, what's an adrenal gland? I mean, let's be honest, most people don't know what that is. What I didn't know at the time was that the adrenal glands are a major piece to our entire endocrine system. In fact, they're so important that if both of my adrenal glands would have hemorrhaged at the same time, I could have died from shock. The problem is that not one single one of my doctors had ever personally treated an adrenal hemorrhage. It's very rare. They couldn't tell me what caused it or whether my other one was going to go as well. They didn't even check my cortisol levels, which I now know could have also been fatal. So without proper testing or treatment, I was sent home with a newborn baby and a bottle of Percocet. Once home, I was a hormonal wreck. Not only was my body not creating cortisol, the hormone that stops your body from running on pure adrenaline, the postpartum depression hit me full force. So of course, I went to my doctor and told her how I was feeling. She proceeded to put me on antidepressants. Even though she knew my history, she still didn't refer me to a specialist. I just felt like my whole life was ruined. For the next few years, I began to do research on my own. I went to doctor after doctor who basically treated me as if I were a hypochondriac. In fact, I feel like everyone began to treat me this way. I know now that it's called medical gaslighting. This is when a healthcare provider dismisses your complaints or concerns. They don't seem to take you seriously, but instead blame your symptoms on a vague cause, such as stress. And they may send you home without a proper diagnosis or treatment plan. I was relying on my HMO to find out what was going on. Nobody wanted to run the tests. Nobody cared to search further when my test showed up borderline. Nobody seemed to believe me. I mean, where were those Grey's Anatomy doctors that searched and searched for what's wrong with you? Where was Dr. House when I needed him? I guess that's all Hollywood. I have to say, I am in no way attacking doctors or any healthcare professional. In fact, I had a few doctors who did their best but were at the mercy of their organization. After years and years of suffering, I finally decided to take matters into my own hands. I was done dealing with the healthcare system that cares more about the bottom line than true medical care. I found a practitioner that specialized in the endocrine system and hormonal therapy. I had to pay out of pocket for the initial visit and proper testing. At that point, I would have paid thousands. I would have sold a few body parts to pay for it. Just kidding, please don't do that. I was not going to let money stand in the way of finding my solution anymore. It was a stretch, but I made it work. When my test results came back, the doctor said, "Your body is creating almost zero cortisol, and I feel like you shouldn't even be walking around right now." As horrible as the news was, I actually cried from relief. Because all I heard was, "You're not crazy." I left his office that day with a prescription and a treatment plan in place. In addition to that, with each visit, we worked together to uncover a different possibility of what caused my issues in the first place. Were they always there? Did they develop because of the hemorrhage or because my hormonal system was out of balance? Unfortunately, we never got to finish the puzzle. I relocated for work and wasn't able to continue. The office didn't offer virtual or telemedicine appointments. Before I left, he recommended a test that measures your hormonal fluctuations over a 1-month cycle. This test can be taken at home and mailed in. The results come back in a report with graphs, charts, and a detailed breakdown of what they mean. Just my opinion, but how the heck could somebody really know what's happening in their body without running this test? It's like having a view of your entire endocrine system. Keep in mind, I'm speaking to you as a consumer and patient. I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving medical advice. I'm also not downplaying the years and years of education and experience that is required to become a physician. But I'm sorry to say, I've not had the best experience. If any doctor ever spoke to me about my test results, it was just the result. And 90% of the time, I found myself Googling and trying to figure out what the results mean. In my adult life, I've suffered from premenstrual dysphoric disorder, recurrent early miscarriages, hormonal urticaria, adrenal insufficiency and hemorrhage, chronic stomach issues, and more. After all of this doom and gloom, I'm happy to report that there's a solution for you too. I partner with an amazing company that offers the testing I discussed as well as treatments for the following. They can help with premenstrual dysphoric disorder, libido and sex drive, PMS relief, elevate mood and motivation, manage menopause symptoms, fight hormonal acne and wrinkles, and hormone testing and mapping. One of the best parts about it, it's offered anywhere in the United States. You can receive treatment from the comfort of your own home. Guess what else? You don't have to sell a body part to get started. You don't even have to spend thousands of dollars to get tests run and start treatment. You can get your consultation for free. If you decide that it's a match for you, I really think it will be, you'll be set up an appointment with a practitioner who will listen to you and work together with you to create a treatment plan. I've even negotiated a coupon code for you guys. Use code FLOW25 to get $25 off your treatment, including hormonal testing. Thank you so much for listening to my story, and I sincerely hope it helps you on your journey.